At 6:12 a.m., I eased my pickup toward my pasture and met a brand-new wrought iron gate bolted across the only road in. A sign hung dead center in tasteful serif font reading Private Maple Crest Reserve HOA. Underneath, in Sharpie, someone had added no tractors. Behind the bars stood Beatrix Lyall in a velour tracksuit, clutching a clipboard like a sheriff's badge. She chirped in a voice that could curdle milk, "Turn around, you're trespassing on our boulevard." I looked at the gravel, the culverts, the drainage I had graded myself last summer, and said with the calmest tone I could manage, "That boulevard is my road." I'm the type of man who labels tool drawers and actually returns the tools to them. I kept to myself on 12 acres of orchard at the edge of Ashford Hollow, where my biggest gossip was the bees are happy. 2 years back I carved a simple farm road from County Blacktop to my barn. It was a legal, surveyed strip I'd paid for, permitted, and posted with little aluminum signs that said E. Mercer right-of-way. Then Maple Crest Reserve happened. An HOA of cul-de-sacs, matching mailboxes, and militant compliance sprouted up on the parcel next to me like a gated mushroom. Its president, Beatrix Lyall, learned of me the way one learns of a raccoon, through rumors about compost and nocturnal activity. She decided my road offended what she called the aesthetic vision. The woman had the energy of someone who alphabetizes their spice rack twice daily and measures grass height with a ruler. She ran the HOA like a tiny dictatorship, complete with color-coded violation forms and a laminated badge she wore to board meetings that said President in gold lettering. The letters began like drizzle at first. Unapproved gravel texture was the opening salvo. Then came orchard dust encroachment and my personal favorite, "Your scarecrow is provocative to minors." Beatrice patrolled on a pastel golf cart with a radar gun she bought online, clocking my tractor speed on my own property. She filmed my daily farm operations, measured the height of my hay by eye, and once stood on a step stool to photograph what she termed agricultural immodesty, which turned out to be rows of drying garlic. At an HOA meeting I was not invited to, she waved a plat map printed from a DIY real estate website and declared my farm road common area boulevard. She actually renamed it Lyall Lane on the whiteboard with a flourish. The board applauded like trained seals, someone suggested decorative lampposts, and Beatrice announced they would be installing a premium security entrance to protect property values. She had already collected $2,000 from each homeowner for what she called the beautification initiative, promising it would increase their home values by at least 10%. The next morning contractors showed up with enough equipment for a major construction project. They poured 2 decorative gate posts with limestone facing and installed LED spotlights that would illuminate them at night. The gate itself was custom fabricated iron with scrollwork that spelled out Maple Crest Reserve in cursive letters across the top. They welded it across my entrance like it was a Hollywood premiere and I wasn't on the list. The absurdity of it hit me when I watched them install a keypad entry system and a camera that Beatrice said would monitor all agricultural traffic for security purposes. She had even hired a graphic designer to create a logo for Lyall Lane that she planned to trademark. Beatrice stood there supervising with a satisfied smile, directing the workers to add more flourishes to the ironwork. She kept saying things like "This will really elevate the neighborhood aesthetic and finally some class around here." She told one worker to make sure the gate was high enough that no one could see the farm equipment from the street because it was diminishing their curb appeal. The contractors seemed confused when I told them they were blocking access to my farm, but Beatrice waved them off saying I was just a disgruntled neighbor who didn't understand property boundaries. She actually told them I was a squatter who had been illegally using HOA property for years and that the board had finally decided to take action. One of the workers asked to see permits, and Beatrice produced a folder full of HOA resolutions and meeting minutes, acting like these internal documents somehow superseded county records. When I eased up again at noon with a trailer of feed, Beatrice demanded a gate fob fee and a $300 aesthetic variance for agricultural vehicles. She actually had a printed fee schedule laminated and ready. I maintained my calm exterior while internally marveling at the audacity and drove straight to the county recorder. 30 minutes later, I returned with the official right-of-way plat, stamped and recorded, plus the easement language highlighted in neon yellow marker. Beatrice looked at the papers, smiled a thin realtor smile that didn't reach her eyes, and said with a dismissive tone, "We had our own survey done." Her own survey, it turned out, involved her cousin repositioning 2 iron pins after dark with a post driver, which is a poetic way of saying felony tampering with monuments. She emailed the sheriff claiming I was a trespasser on HOA property. She actually used the phrase hostile agricultural presence in her complaint. The deputy rolled up, took one look at my name on the recorded easement, and radioed for a county surveyor. The surveyor arrived within the hour, found the disturbed pins glinting like gilt in the afternoon sun, and his eyebrows did that thing eyebrows do when the plot thickens. He took photographs, measurements, and muttered something about people not understanding that survey monuments are protected by law. Within a day, the county attorney filed an injunction to remove the gate. The fire marshal added a friendly note explaining that blocking a farm access road is a code violation because fire trucks need to turn around somewhere that isn't a beadboard cul-de-sac. The USDA extension agent chimed in too, since I had a small grant for pollinator habitat. Obstructing access jeopardized a federal program, which is bureaucratic music you can actually dance to. Deputies escorted a locksmith to cut the chains while Beatrice screamed about private property and waved her laminated HOA president badge. She tried to physically stand in front of the bolt cutters, her arms spread wide like she was protecting a sacred monument instead of an illegal gate. The fire marshal asked her in a bored tone, "Do you enjoy courtrooms?" That seemed to deflate her momentarily. The gate swung open with a theatrical sigh, and I drove through at 1 respectful mile per hour, tipping my hat as I passed. Discovery was unkind to Beatrice. The group chat she ran called Operation Class Up the Country was full of gems. Messages like if we claim it's ours long enough it will become ours, and a selfie of her cousin holding a dirt-smeared survey pin like a trophy fish. There were voice memos where she explicitly discussed moving the pins to expand HOA territory and emails where she bragged about finally getting control of that eyesore farm road. In court, the judge stared over his reading glasses as if regarding a rare and particularly unpleasant fungus. He read from the docket with increasing disbelief. Criminal mischief for monument tampering, civil trespass, nuisance, attempted conversion, and illegal gating of an emergency access. The HOA's insurer, which had been nodding along with the confidence of a cat on a windowsill, suddenly leapt into action and whispered frantically about coverage exclusions. The judge's ruling was comprehensive and brutal. Remove the gate and posts at HOA expense immediately. Restore the disturbed survey corners under county supervision. Pay my legal fees totaling $42,000, crop losses of $8,000, and 3 months of leased access fees the HOA forced me to take at $1,500 per month. The HOA itself was fined $25,000 for the emergency access violation. But the judge wasn't done with Beatrice personally. She was censured and fined $10,000 individually for the monument tampering. She received 120 hours of community service, specifically assisting the county survey crew in replacing damaged monuments throughout the county under direct supervision. The judge made it clear she would be wearing steel toe boots and a bright vest while learning exactly why survey pins are legally sacred. Beatrice's face went through a spectacular range of colors as each penalty was announced. When the judge mentioned the personal fine, she actually gasped and clutched her clipboard to her chest. At the community service sentence, she stammered something about her bad back and her position in the community. The judge cut her off, saying that her position in the community was exactly why she should have known better. The HOA board voted her out unanimously that very evening in an emergency session. Her real estate license was suspended for 6 months pending an ethics review. The total financial damage between all the fines, fees, and payments came to over $90,000, split between the HOA and Beatrice personally. She stood there in the courtroom, her velour tracksuit suddenly looking deflated, muttering, "But I was protecting property values," over and over like a broken record.